You're listening to the Fitzy and Whipper podcast.
Huge story over the weekend. Kanye West is married, and it's to an Aussie girl. She's 27, Bianca Sensory. She's from Melbourne, and he's architectural designer. She's worked for his fashion label since 2020. The thing that makes me laugh is that her family have pretty much confirmed it. No one else has been able to get confirmation. They're both wearing wedding bands, but there's no marriage certificate. But her family have said how excited they are for the two of them. Yeah. So they've gone and outed it. But 13, 24, 10, do you know someone who's hooked up with a famous person?
This is the thing. There was some great reactions over the weekend. Obviously, her family, I don't think any journalists are talking to the family. They've got a couple of Facebook responses, but they don't want to talk too much. We tried to get them on today. There was another great one on Twitter of two girls that FaceTimed each other and told each other, oh my God, that's the girl that we went to university with. She's now married to Kanye.
It would feel so remote when celebrity enters your stratosphere. Yes. Kanye is a whole other level to that, particularly because over Christmas there was some pretty weird behaviour. And there was a headline a while ago, it was in beginning of December, that he'd gone missing. And then he released that song Sensory Overload, which we now believe was written about her because he spelt sensory the same as her surname. Yeah. They must have been together.
It's the Notting Hill story, isn't it? Really. And that's what everyone's chasing. When you've got a group of friends and you find out that a mate has hooked up with somebody famous, it is your whole life. It takes over your whole life. Well, I've got a couple for you. I had an ex-teammate that I played footy with. He tried to claim, but this is a hard one because she wasn't famous when he hooked up with her. It wasn't until afterwards that he found out. But he hooked up with Princess Mary.
That's tough.
This was just before Prince Frederick.
So you pushed her all the way into that realm.
So then you sort of claim it afterwards that, she was famous at the time. No one knew who she was.
It is hard to claim a celeb when they're not in their glory days. I know someone who hooked up with Ricky Ponting, but it was around the time of the bourbon and beefsteak fight, so he was an awesome cricketer. But if you were hanging at the bourbon and beefsteak to try and hook up with a cricketer, the glory kind of comes off.
She didn't give him the black eye, did she, from the bourbon and beefsteak?
Confirm.
We also had Josiah, who worked on this show here. I still remember this day. Do you remember this, MDG?
Oh, I talk about it almost monthly.
It was the first time that Rita Ora had come to Australia, and we knew straight away, and she's always been a great interview, we knew straight away that her eye was on Josiah.
Well, he's a good-looking rooster. She's gorgeous.
He's Albanian. I think she's Albanian as well.
And he always claims that there is an Albanian connection that only Albanians can understand.
And there was this moment, right? So she's sort of flirting with him as we're doing the interview, and afterwards she leaves the studio, and there's this moment where oh my God, did you see that? And he's going, yeah, I saw it. And then you go, well, what do we do next? And we're going, we'll go out and have a chat to her again, but she'd already gone. She'd left the radio station. Then about half an hour later, Tom, our producer, gets a phone call from Rita Ora's entourage saying, Rita would like to have dinner with the man that was pushing the buttons behind the panel. And oh my gosh, did this place not erupt? Everyone was just like, oh my God!
You're not saying no to that. You know what? I've seen that go badly, though. A girl I used to work with at another radio station, Rob Schneider, came in. Remember him? Adam Sandler's mate. Now, when he left the studio and asked for her number, it was a very different response to Josiah's, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay, all right, let's do this. Every caller that goes into the running, you go into the running for Nova's free for 23. We want to set you up. You can pay your mortgage, you can pay your bills, all with that. 13, 24, 10 though. What was it like in your friendship group when someone hooked up with someone famous? Who was it? Give us a call, we'll get you on next.
Katrina in Sutherland, give us your story.
Hi guys, love you all. This was a long time ago, about 20 odd years ago. I was supposed to go out to Darling Harbour with some friends. Ended up being really unwell, so they all went out and had a great night. So a couple of days later, my friend comes, says to me, I had the best night. Met these guys, they were so cool, we danced all night, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay. She goes, oh, look, I've got some photos. So she shows me the photos, and I've nearly fell off my chair. I said, do you not know who that is? And she's looking at me blankly, and I went, you don't know who that is? And she went, no. I went, that's Vin Diesel.
Oh, you're kidding.
Is this before Fast and the Furious, or he was already out?
So I think Riddick had just come out.
Oh, yep.
Riddick.
So, I don't know.
I mean, that's a reference, but I knew it.
I would rather Fast and the Furious Vin than Riddick Vin.
Riddick Vin.
Riddick Vin.
To me, he was still amazing.
Had
I'm
they-
freaking
had
out.
they-
She's like, what do you mean? Who's that? It was unbelievable. But the nicest thing that she told me was he wasn't asleep. They were really nice people. They had a great night.
that's
and everyone went home and had a nice memory.
It is funny when you don't recognise a celebrity. There's that famous Margot Robbie story I think she told a few years ago where she was getting help at a house party because she'd lost something in one of the rooms, and it was actually Prince Harry helping her out. I mean, even for an Aussie, she didn't quite compute that he would be at the party because they all had sort of a bit of fancy dress on.
Yeah. One of my best mates, his mum hooked up with Bob Willis, the English fast bowler, Matt de Groot, back in the day. This is a long time ago, and we were teenagers at the time. We didn't even know who Bob Willis was, so we did some research and found out about him, and then the jokes this Port Joy had to put up with after that, because, we were asking, give us details, Joy. Was he an in-swinger, an out-swinger?
Oh, God.
Just...
Yeah. Well, that's like Gail de Groot. She hooked up with Mike Gadding, the English cricketer, but he is effectively the human equivalent of the fat controller.
Yeah.
He's just this short, portly bloke, bald with a goatee. Looks a little bit like me, actually, to be totally honest with you. And you go pick any international athlete on the planet, a fat English cricketer mum. Do better.
Sarah seems really quiet in the corner over here, doesn't she?
What do you mean?
Who'd your mum hook up with?
Oh, we can't. Do you know what? This story did the rotation again at Christmas, and Mum was, rather than get angry about it, Mum leant into it and started talking. And I have to say, I wasn't happy to hear more details about her and Malcolm Turnbull.
Any stories on Malcolm Turnbull?
None that I'm willing to share. None.
You're listening to the Fitzy and Whipper podcast.